and welcome to Wolves World for episode 4 of 5 in 5. 5 topics, 5 minutes, all about Wolverhampton Wanderers. Please give me a like, subscribe and a share, and you can check out all my platforms on Twitter, Instagram at NorthernWolf10, and check out my website for some articles, www.wolvesworld.org. Point number 1. Last night's game at Chelsea ended 0-0, and while some people might have been disappointed with the amount of possession we let Chelsea have, I was actually content, if not happy, with how Wolves approached that game. We have been very short defensively, we've looked disorganised, sometimes calamitous, and thrown away goals to teams that we shouldn't have. So to face a Chelsea team who will have been buoyed by a new manager, I was expecting a bit of an onslaught, which in some ways we got, but we stood up to the test. We had some outstanding performances, which I'll talk about later, and overall, we were fantastic, we worked hard, and we were organised. There was nothing about last night's defensive performance that worried me at all. I would have liked to have seen us do a little bit more with the ball, especially maybe in the first half, because that set the tone for the game, and we never really got a foothold. We did have some chances on the counter, I'll discuss them shortly, but overall, excellent performance, excellent result, and that clean sheet was very much needed. Point number 2, Nelson Semedo. This is a guy who has had at best hit and miss form since he has arrived, but for me he has now started to show what he's all about. He's had some very good games recently, looked accomplished defensively, his speed is now starting to match his sort of ability, he's more than just a speedster, and actually last night, to see him on the left side when Aït-Nouri was desperately struggling and did actually have to come off. There was a bold move from Nuno and he made the right choice. Semedo was fantastic on that left side. We may have Johnny on the way back soon, but I think in the immediate future, Semedo on the left side and Hoover on the right side is a combination and a setup that works. It allows Semedo to get forward, and he showed that he defended brilliantly last night from start to finish. No lapses in concentration, so well done to him. He was my man of the match for yesterday. Point number 3. I'd like to talk quickly about Patricio and Bolly. These are two players who I have seen struggle, and also Bolly's been out for injuries, but have struggled generally this season. I don't think Patricio's been at his best, and I don't think there's been many games when he's really kept us in it, which is something he's done a lot during his time at Wolves. But yesterday was definitely one of those games. While he didn't have loads to do, the things he did do, he did well. He looked accomplished. He even distributed the ball quite well with his feet, which is something that he worked on since he arrived. Bolly looked the absolute man mountain that we're used to seeing. He looked composed on the ball. He won almost everything that came near him in the air, and I don't think the pace and trickery of Chelsea's players caused him any trouble either, which you'd think it would, being a bigger guy, but actually he looked solid all round. These two got excellent scores of 8 on my match ratings, and I would like to see them both continue this form. That will be crucial to Wolves' defensive success as we move forwards. Point number 4, parking that big red bus. We've seen Chelsea throughout the years, obviously under Mourinho, get a reputation for this, and I was delighted to go to Stamford Bridge and see that happen yesterday. I had no problem with them doing that. I think they did it really well. The low block is how I'd like to describe it rather than parking the bus, but we came with a clear game plan. We were happy to let Chelsea have the ball. We were happy to sit deep. Yes, that can take a risk, because if Chelsea had scored at any time, I didn't really see Wolves getting back into that game after the way they'd approached it for so long. However, it didn't happen, and the 0-0 was a great result in the end, much needed. The parking of the bus, as we'd like to call it, is not something I want to see employed very often, but sometimes when you're in a rot, that 1 point in that clean sheet can make a difference, and that was last night. So well done to Nuno for those tactic choices, and hopefully we won't see it against Palace. That is not the game for that, but it's nice to see that in those bigger games, we maybe don't need to attack teams like we have done in previous seasons. We can sit back and see if we can snatch that point, which at the moment is what Wolves need, because the bottom is closing in if we don't start improving, but a step in the right direction last night. And point number 5. I've mentioned this player numerous times, but Treyore for me was horrendous last night. Talk about an empty shirt walking around. I've got no problem with him not getting on the ball in an attacking sense. He did fall over when he got the ball more times than he did anything with it, and my match ratings of 3 were 1 per touch of the ball, I felt, for him in that game. The problem I have is he's frustrating the players around him. If he goes down the wide channels with the ball when he does get it, with Podence in the middle and Neto possibly making his way into the middle and Dendoncker, he hasn't really got any definite targets to aim for, so he must change up his game there. That could be the top coaching of Nuno, but really I think he's got to be wise enough in a game to see we've got a 30-whatever-year-old centre-back in Thiago Silva, let's run at him, let's make things awkward for him, and he just didn't. This is leading to Neto being very frustrated. When Neto gets the ball left, right or centre, yes, he wants to beat men and be direct, and he can and he will continue to do that. But he then needs a pass, and Treyore is just hanging out on the right-hand side or possibly the left-hand side, wide out of the box towards the touchline. He is not helping the play at all. He will not score from that position, nor will he give Neto a suitable pass to make. And I think Neto's frustration was clear last night, and it has been a few times. And this particular segment has taken longer than a minute as intended. However, it's important. Treyore must do more to help his team. Off the ball, do something. With the ball, be a little bit smarter. I thought he turned a corner with his games against Palace and the one before, I forget which match it was. But sadly, we haven't seen that. So big improvement needed from him. Otherwise, I do think he'll be leaving in the summer, hopefully for a hefty transfer fee that we've managed to pull the wool over someone else's eyes if they're willing to pay it. But we'll see how that develops. Thanks very much. That's all from me. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Check out my website, www.wolvesworld.org, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at NorthernWolf10. See you soon for the next episode of 5 in 5. Bye-bye.